It's not about endurance, right? It's not about flight time. It's about consistency. Eventually, we care about consistency above the point of interest, consistency of communication, consistency of data transmission. And the way to look about consistency is using multi-drones.
You're listening to the Drone Radio Show podcast, the show about drones and the people who use them for business, fun, and research. Hosted by Randy Goers.
Hello, everyone. This is Randy Goers, and welcome to the Drone Radio Show podcast, episode 278. Can mesh technology offer a new paradigm for delivering autonomous drone services? Today's guest believes it can. Guy Cherni is the CEO and co-founder of Atlas Dynamics, an aerospace company providing fully autonomous UAV solutions. With its proprietary technology, Atlas Dynamics creates top-tier drone-based solutions that are accessible and seamless to use, address common problems, and simplify everyday tasks. Guy has extensive experience in technology startups, social entrepreneurship, and community development. He holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in philosophy, political science, and economics, and a master's degree in industrial design. In this episode of the Drone Radio Show, Guy talks about the company's fully autonomous drones, mesh technology, and how it will change the way drone services are designed and delivered. But before we hear from Guy, I want to thank those of you who are supporting my funding campaign. Whether it's $1, $100, or much more, you can help defray the cost of production and keep the podcast going and growing. Go to droneradioshow.com/donate. And by the way, if you have an idea for a great show and want to share your experience, please contact me at randy@droneradioshow.com. So let's learn how mesh technology will change the way autonomous drone solutions are delivered with Guy Cherni. Let's pick up the interview where I ask Guy to introduce himself.
First of all, thank you, Randy, for having me. I really appreciate it, and I love this program. My name is Guy Cherni. I'm the CMO and co-founder of Atlas Dynamics. I have a background in the field of startup backing, investment, acceleration. I founded several innovation programs around the world. I had an earlier startup in the field of robotics that failed but taught me a lot about lean manufacturing and hardware. And besides that, I'm married. I have 2 kids. I love running, and I'm practicing ninjutsu.
Guy, tell us about Atlas Dynamics. What is it, and what does it do?
Atlas is a company that creates smart, connected, and cost-effective unmanned aerial systems. And this represents our core values, smart being autonomous and enabling the operator for less screen time and more mission time. Cost-effective basically represent controlling everything in our supply chain, our design, all the process of our products, and that enables us to do a very agile and be very flexible. And connected basically means that the drone can talk with each other, and that definitely changed how we see the ConOps, the concept of operation of drones. More about Atlas, we are around 60 people today. We have offices in the US, the UK, and the EU. And we are a design house for drone solutions, mostly for security, defense, first response, and industry.
And you're not just a drone manufacturer. You provide a full range of solutions, right?
Exactly. So we call it our building blocks. We're creating the hardware, the software, the communication, the payloads from the sensor level, the GCS, basically everything that has to do with our system. And we're always saying that, we didn't do it because we wanted to from the beginning, but because the ecosystem was so small. And this basically enabled us a capability to control our value chain and to be able to be very flexible to our user needs.
When I was first introduced to Atlas Dynamics a few years ago, there was the one tricopter that was pretty much the mainstay UAV. Is that still the case, or have you developed other models?
Yes, so what you're referring to is the Atlas Pro. It's our main drone, a robust and highly capable small unmanned aerial system It has a unique aerodynamic shape that won several design awards that enable it to not just create drag, but create lift and therefore fly longer and farther. It has computer vision capabilities and embedded mesh communication. And this is our main tool for man-unmanned teaming, assisting the operator and becoming a force multiplier for him. We also have the capability to create a fully autonomous solution using our Atlas Nest. The Nest is basically a docking station that enables the Atlas Pro the ability to take off, land autonomously, and basically stay out in the field, enabling everything that we know about a drone in a box. What's special about the Nest is that it replaces batteries. It has a very small form factors. It can be moved by two people from one place to the other. And I think that what we love about it the most is the precision landing algorithm that it has that enable it to not just land the drone when static, but also when moving. We also have several small products like our payloads. We have different payloads, day, night, radiometric, 4K, and more that are coming soon. And the Atlas Relay, which is a relay module that enables you to get a real-time stream to different devices, like your smartphone. And our GCS, the Atlas Station.
That's quite a bit of evolution since we first talked. The Nest, is there any human intervention from the time that the drone needs a battery charge to when it lands and gets a new battery? Or is it all handled by the software?
So the whole concept of the Atlas Pro, not talking of the Nest yet, is that you define the mission and then the drone do it by itself, right? It's your teammate. You give it the mission and it knows how to do it. Taking off, coming back, flying according to pre-planned mission, and alerting you if it sees something that you're looking for using its computer vision. And this relates to what we said earlier about less screen time and more mission time, enabling the operator to actually do its mission and not just staring at the screen. And this is the Atlas Pro. The Nest have all these capabilities, but it can also launch the drone by itself, replace the battery by itself. So in essence, you define the pre-planned mission for the Atlas Nest, usually for perimeter security or border patrol. And then the drone knows to go out automatically, take off flying according to pre-planned mission, understanding what it sees and alerting if needed, and if not, coming back to the station, replacing batteries and be ready to go out again in 3 minutes. It is a fully autonomous solution that is supported by all the capabilities of the Atlas Pro.
That's cool. Now, what is the Atlas Mesh?
That is a great question, Randy. The Atlas Mesh is a multi-node communication that, unlike regular drone communication that is one-to-one, one controller to one drone, it's what we call many-to-many. And that basically enables you to control several drones together or sending information from one drone to several GCSs together. And as we see it, this is something that is totally changing the operation paradigm.
When you say it's changing the operation paradigm, what does that mean to us users or operators?
Thank you for the question, Randy. So I want you to start by imagining, right? You are in a task force, a first responder looking for a missing person in the woods. It's cold, it's raining, you're outnumbered, and you have no second to lose. And right when you need it the most, the drone that you just sent to search for a missing person have to come back to replace the battery. So you're sending the drone again. And every 20 minutes, the drone needs to come back. And in that aspect, you cannot maintain a line of sight with your point of interest. Let's say that you want to send the drone behind the woods or into the valley, right? You might lose line of sight and therefore lose communication. And if your drone is good enough, it will come back autonomously. And if not, you will just lose it. And the third thing is that even if you're finding something, right, you're finding your point of interest, then you're the only person that gets this data. And then you need to direct the team on the ground, behind that tree, behind that rock, right? And even this could lead to problems and mistakes. Now, many companies were trying to solve these issues. And let's talk specifically about the endurance issue, right? Trying to make the drone fly longer, maybe with unique aerodynamical shape like Atlas, maybe with increased batteries, and maybe in different ways. So you have a drone that can fly 30 minutes or 40 minutes or 50 minutes. But eventually in a mission that takes several hours, it's just not enough. So then at Atlas, we thought of how we can redefine not the answer, but the question, right? We have a saying in design, right? Doing the right thing before doing things right. And that basically means before trying to answer a question in the best way, let's find out that the question is even right. And what we realized is that it's not about endurance, right? It's not about flight time. It's about consistency. Eventually, we care about consistency above the point of interest, consistency of communication, consistency of data transmission. And the way to look about consistency is using multi-drones. So when thinking about the first example, consistency about the point of interest using several drones that just replace each other mid-air. You have one drone above this point of interest, and when it understands that it needs to go back, by the way, just like with the Nest or other solutions, the second drone is launched, replaced it, and that drone come back. And when with consistency of communication, right, we're sending two drones up in the air, one that is high up and one that can go behind visual line of sight, but they relay each other. The communication from the drone behind visual line of sight go to the one that is flying above that is connected with the GCS, and therefore you maintain communication. And consistency of data transmission, using the Atlas relay, we can send the data in real time to your smartphone. So you don't even have to have expensive GCS to every person in the task force. They just have to use their smartphone in our accessible Atlas relay. And by using this technology, by using this multi-node communication, we can create this consistency. And this consistency, again, changes the paradigm. It's not about endurance, it's about multi-drone operation. And this is something that I believe is going to become the new normal.
So one drone is performing the mission while another is providing a communication link. And if you need more drones, or one drone is running low on a battery or whatever, you've got other drones waiting to move in and pick up the slack.
Exactly. You have several drones that replace each other mid-air, and they can do it basically autonomously. You don't need to do it by yourself. You just define the point of interest, and then the drones know to go there automatically. And I think that the paradigm shift is the concept of multi-sensors, right? The drone eventually is a sensors. And like we can use several sensors on one drone, the operation of multi-drone will become the new strategy, will become the new ConOps for search and rescue, defense. And we're already seeing it now happening in the field. We are doing it today with search and rescue organizations in Europe. We're doing it with security organizations. We're flying in hard terrain in Northern Europe with search and rescue organization. And we're using multi-drone operation in order to maintain this consistency.
At last year's Copa America soccer tournament in Rio de Janeiro, Atlas Dynamics used drones to help the police monitor the perimeter of the Maracana Stadium. Can you tell us about that?
The concept was to maintain, again, consistency above the point of interest, which for that matter was the stadium. The police were using several drones in order to get several angles and several locations in tandem.
How many drones were used?
In this situation, we used 3 drones. We had 2 drones in the air at all time, with one as a replacement. It was a multi-day operation, several hours every day for the final series.
What did you learn from that experience?
In general, both security and defense and first responders, most of them are using the same use cases or the same applications. And I think that this scenario specifically and others, we learn from each one of them because we are working very closely with our users and understanding their needs. Either it may be in how they operate, maybe in what they want to see, how they want the screen to look, where they want to have features, etc. And from each one of them, we gain a lot of insights.
Does it cost much more to use multiple drones in an operation?
So that's a great question. First of all, again, our core values in Atlas is cost effectivity, and we're creating products that are what we like to define accessible and affordable because we manufacture and we control the value chain. And when we're moving from one drone to selling 2 drones with 1 GCS, the margin is very small. I mean, eventually, it's worthwhile to use both of them than to just use one. It's not doubling the cost.
For the situation in Brazil, did the operators acquire your system fully and now own it, or did they contract for the service?
So Atlas has different business models. Mostly we sell our products, but we also lease, especially when talking about the Nest. Specifically in Brazil, we created a proof of concept with the local police in which we came and we trained them and we operated together with them.
I read where Atlas Dynamics is now working with the Norwegian Search and Rescue Service in patrolling glaciers and fjords in the Arctic Circle and assisting rescuers in saving lives. How did that come about?
Atlas is working for several years with first responders. Our aircraft has high endurance to extreme weather, extreme wind and rain, mostly due to the aerodynamical shape and the use of servo in the back. And recently we passed what is defined as Arctic testing, meaning being able to fly in highly extreme winds and extreme cold. And we're doing that in Northern Europe with NPAID, which is the Norwegian People's Aid, which is a great first responders organization, volunteering and doing an amazing job by saving people in the hardest conditions. NPAID is using Atlas Dynamics drone as part of their operations, and we're happy that we're able to assist them now with saving lives in these hard conditions.
I know the Arctic can be brutal. Can you tell us about the type of conditions the drone would be subjected to?
When talking about winds, Atlas usually can fly in around 50, 60 kilometers per hour wind and up to minus 25 degrees. And these are the temperatures that we're dealing with there. It can also be more extreme, obviously, but it's extreme cold, it's extreme wind, it's gust, and it's very hard conditions to work at.
What about heavy rains? Has the Atlas Pro been tested in that kind of environment?
We're doing all of our R&D in Europe, and most of our scenarios are extreme cold and extreme rain. And this is something that we're able to deal with. Our products are IP certified, our payloads are IP certified, and our products are designed to work in these scenarios.
In your opinion, which clients and industries are getting the greatest value from using your system?
The main industries that are gaining value from the Atlas products are ISTAL organizations, governments, and search and rescue organizations. Our drones were designed to work in extreme conditions, to fly long and far, and carry high-end sensors. And these are generally the organizations that are in using them today. We work with several governments, both in Europe and in other NATO countries, search and rescue organizations, first responders, and we have some drones also in industrial aspects, but we're mostly getting into it now with the Atlas Nest, both for perimeter security and also for other things as well.
How does Atlas Dynamics continue to innovate? What's the secret?
We keep looking for more ideas, right? And by working with our users and by listening to them and to their needs, we're able to create new things, new ideas. I mean, no one is smarter than our users, right? We're definitely not smarter than them, right? They come to us with their ideas and we implement.
That's definitely an important concept.
This is the most important thing. They know best, right? We're able to provide technology, but the user know best. And what I'm also going to say in a second is that the user have matured, right? The industry have matured and the users have matured. And they know now what they want, right? They're not being fed by what they're given. They know they have high expectations, and companies have to provide. They have to listen and they have to provide.
Going back to the Atlas mesh for a second, could you expand on what makes it so unique?
So basically today, Randy, you have two kinds of mesh communications. Either military grade, that the mesh is embedded in the communication module, usually costs tens of thousands of dollars for one module. And just to remind you, you need a module on every device. This is one kind. The second kind, which is not exactly mesh, but it's multi-drone operation, is multi-drone operation that is done over the internet, meaning that you need to have internet connection. And then you have problems like latency, and obviously you need internet. And if you don't, you cannot use it. And it's not operational in the fields that we are working with of first response and defense. What Atlas is doing is what we call software-based mesh communication. And what that means is that we're taking one-to-one modules that are being designed and built to be one-to-one, and we're manipulating them with some hardware and a lot of software to become many-to-many. And what that means is that we have an embedded capability for mesh communication in our product that is affordable and allows us to keep the price ranges that we want to keep for these products in order for them to actually be available to the users, to enable them to actually buy several drones. And this is why we won the Edison Award. Now, the Edison Award is one of the most prestigious awards for innovation. It's every year, several companies are being awarded according to different topics. SpaceX and Tesla obviously won it several years ago. And this year we won in the aerospace communication field, coming second only to Airbus with their UTM system. And that was a great achievement for us. And I think that this recognition for us basically reflects the great job that our team is doing, that our engineers are doing. And it's nice to once in a while stop this marathon and kind of look on what you did and enjoy it for 5 seconds before keep running in order to provide for our users and answering their needs.
Does the mesh technology have applications beyond the drone industry? I mean, the idea of having multi-communications, can that be applied to other industries?
So definitely. And you're tapping into the future because today we have the ability to control several Atlas Pros. And we also have the capability to control several nests or several Atlas Pros and nests because each one of them is a node in the system, and several payloads because each one of them is a node in the system. Now, adding additional nodes could be additional drones made by Atlas, could be additional drones made by other companies, and it could be other unmanned vehicles, may it be unmanned ground vehicles or unmanned maritime vehicles. Because when you think about it, the operating system that we created together with this communication capability basically create an ecosystem for operation. And in that ecosystem, which is easy to use and seamless, you can control potentially different things. And I think that this is something that we're going to see in the near future, starting like many other industries, probably in the defense sector, but like many other technologies, things that come from defense are moving to the civilian sector. And I believe that eventually this system of system could lead or could be the backbone for the smart city. Because in the smart city, as it is being envisioned, you have flying vehicles, you have ground vehicles, you're talking about autonomy. They're connecting with each other, they're optimizing each other with data. And this is where it's going. And I think that, when looking at Atlas, it's also put a lot of responsibility on us because we need to think about our products. And by the way, not only us, but everyone in the unmanned industry. We need to think about our products, not just as things that are going to be great for our users, but things that are also going to be great or at least accepted by the non-users, or as I tend to call them, the coerced users. Once you're entering the civilian field, once you're entering the city, this is something that as innovators, we need to think of as well.
Now, all of us are dealing with the pandemic. From your perspective, how has the pandemic affected the industry, and how have companies responded?
Everyone was affected by the pandemic, and the unmanned industry was affected as well. I think that the unmanned industry is an industry that is heavily dependent on meeting face-to-face, right? We're meeting in conferences, we're meeting in demos, we're meeting for trainings. And the social distancing and different restrictions of transportation and flights definitely created many challenges for our industry and Atlas as well, of course. And I think that during the pandemic, we had a time again to reflect and to innovate on the way that we deal with them. And it led to several positive changes that I believe will stay with the industry long after COVID is gone. First one is remote demos and remote training, right? Demonstrating online our capabilities with several cameras and several drones and people in different scenarios. And we actually had the ability to demo to much more people in the same time, in the same day, demoing in the US, in Europe, and in Asia. The second thing is remote training, right? Sending drones by mail to our users and train them online. That was also a very interesting experience that led to a lot of positive reactions. The second major change is how the government sees the unmanned industry. I think that social distancing emphasizes the benefits of unmanned vehicles, may it be aerial or ground vehicles, and it changed their perception about the concept of operation and also affected the way and the process in which they give waivers for autonomous operation. And the third change is that we saw new features, and they were developed in a co-design process with our users. May it be new payloads, and may it be different software or different applications to payloads we already had. And I think that represents something about the industry as well.
It kind of shows the resiliency of some companies to innovate through the crisis, doesn't it?
Yes, definitely. I mean, tried making this, I don't know if is that a phrase in the US, making a lemonade from the lemons?
Yes, yeah.
So yes, we tried making a lemonade from this lemon. And I believe that in the long term, it's actually going to improve the industry. I think it pushed it years ahead. And this is something that we in the industry are going to benefit from.
You mentioned that the industry is built on a lot of personal contact and interaction. And obviously that's been limited because of the pandemic. Conferences and trade shows are a big part of that interaction. In fact, you and I met at a conference a few years ago. Many of the trade shows are moving online during this crisis. How do you think that will go?
And we actually saw it in the last few months. Many shows were canceled and many of them moved online. And I think that they create a lot of value, but I'm definitely believe that face-to-face meetings and interactions are going to come back, and they're here to stay. And eventually, these are the people we are, right? We like to meet people. At Atlas, we are a high-touch company, right? We are in constant touch with our clients, with the field. So we have the ability to provide demos, and we have the ability to provide training online, which is great capability to have, but it's not replacing meeting people, and it will not replace these conferences. Eventually, the conferences are going to come back, and we're going to meet each other again, and I look forward to it.
How would you describe the industry today, and what do you think we'll see in the future?
The drone industry and the unmanned industry in general is in constant change. We're evolving, we're consolidating, and in one word, we're maturing. And this is something that we see in both companies that offer much more, much higher technology, better use cases, but also in the users. The users are smarter than us. They know what they want. They're not taking anything for granted, but also not taking anything that they're getting, right? They know what they need. And we as companies have to listen and have to be in constant touch with our users, co-design with them, and create this innovation together. And this is the best way to grow. And I think that what represents it the most is when we look at payloads. I think payloads definitely represent this maturity, both in the drone company's capabilities of creating payloads that are relevant for their users, and also for the users that know what they want and strive to get exactly what they need. And then in a mutual process, we can create together what they need. Atlas is dealing with payloads, and we're going to reveal several very interesting payloads in the near future.
And for my final question, Guy, what message would you like to leave regarding the drone industry?
Thank you, Randy. It's an exciting time, I think, for all of us. And I really believe that, we're reaching this stage where this industry can just, shake everything, right? We're doing amazing things. We in the industry in general, things that no one ever thought is possible. The users are there. They want to participate. The government understands the need and the functionality and the benefits. And it really is a very, very exciting time.
That's it for episode 278 of the Drone Radio Show. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Guy Cherni of Atlas Dynamics. I want to thank Guy for taking the time to speak with me. If you want to learn more about Atlas Dynamics or want to connect with Guy, check out the webpage at atlasdynamics.eu. If you like the Drone Radio Show, please consider supporting the podcast with a small donation. The content is always free, but for as little as $1, you can help defray the cost of production. To donate, go to droneradioshow.com/donate. And thanks for listening. Your support means a lot to me, and I hope you'll listen to more episodes of the Drone Radio Show podcast to hear how others are using drones for business, fun, and research. For the Drone Radio Show, I'm Randy Goers.
This has been the Drone Radio Show podcast. More information on today's show can be found on our website at www.droneradioshow.com. If you're using drone technology for business, fun, or research and would like to share your experience on the show, please visit our website and fill out a guest appearance application. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite social media channels.